What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since we filmed back in this location. That's why, but the birds are molting, they're a little cranky, and they're also very tired. So I figured it was a good time to try and talk in here again without hopefully being interrupted too many times. So I was at a pet expo this past weekend, not as a attendee, but actually as a vendor. Really? Come on. This isn't gonna work for very long. I was going to try and get some footage of kind of the setup and what it's like from a vendor perspective, but I got really tied up with setting up our little area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the footage of the expo and of the vendors that I did get a chance to talk to, and then after that footage is done, I will go more in depth with you here on what it's like being a vendor at an expo. So for the sake of not having to listen to my lovebird screaming, I'm gonna go straight into the footage, enjoy, and I will see you in a bit. Expo starts in about 10 minutes. Everybody else is just kind of getting set up here. Oh my gosh, so we're about to open in a minute, and there's already a lineup outside. This looks exciting.
Hi, I'm Greg, and I'm with Obi's Worms, and we are selling the black soldier fly larvae, and it's a really good feeder insect for any insectivore. We have our own leopard gecko and hedgehog that we feed, but we also feed chickens and fish. Actually, Obi's out for a walk right now.
Yeah. It's helpful to see the whole, progression.
And also for us to say, it's going to take, from here to here is 5 days, 10 days, 20-ish days, and then 30 days. So it's a 30-day life cycle. Yeah. So all of our stuff is going to be basically food grade, because our main product that we sell is the powder. Yeah. And that is going to go into as well. We'll go into dog and cat foods. And salmon, we'll do fish pellets and poultry pellets, mainly because there's a big protein crisis right now globally. And so there's actually Germany's actually leading the way with dog and cat foods that are insect-based. And so that's something that we're hoping to get into as well.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
No, that's awesome.
we live?
No, we're not live. It's gonna take me a couple days to edit. Okay, well, tell me about your colloidal silver, because it's kind of a big deal.
It is a big
Yeah.
deal. Well, Finessium, I don't know if you know from the Dogs of Pride,
Yes.
are Finn, Jesse, and William.
Oh.
So that's how Finessium came to be, and we have been making this product for 8-something years. We just, this week, got our Health Canada approval.
Yeah,
so this
girl.
is now approved as a veterinary health product under Health Canada. That's
awesome.
So you can find it on the website dogsofpride.com.
Yeah.
It'll give you our health care number and everything on there. And it's my Frank's hot sauce, so I use this on everything. Absolutely everything. Love it.
I love that.
And then we've got our other line now to add
Yeah.
on to it. We're going to be applying, or we have applied, we're going to try and get our oil approved now as well, which is basically our version or our alternative to CBD. It has some beautiful essential oils in it that we find whenever we mix them at the right levels and dilution rates and everything else, that it had a wonderful synergistic effect, which we are hoping to get lots of more tests and trials and stuff done on. But our customers that came back that tried this said that they were having the same, if not better, results than what they were from their CBD products. Awesome. And as now with Health Canada's standing that we cannot get health or CBD, or if we are, we have to be really, really careful as to knowing where it's coming from, how it's processed. So as it's still classed as illegal, even though people think it's legal. That's like saying driving's legal.
Yeah.
You can
If
do
you
it,
follow
but
the appropriate.
You've got a license.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the balm for noses and toes. Best way to use this little product is scrape a little bit off on your fingernail and then warm it between your fingers, and it just melts right in and it is absorbed lovely into the pads. And with that as well, you've got all the protection of the same oils that you have in the Smart Oil. So that's the trifecta of our new stuff. And we did the Clever Cream in the larger tub as well because the horses are loving this. So anything like rain rot, mud fever, sarcoids, you name it, even sore joints and stuff, you can just work that in and it's absorbed. You don't need to shave or clip or any areas at all.
That's awesome.
Stuff.
Gave the birds some snacks. Hopefully that'll keep them occupied, but if you hear any like munching in the background, that's what that is. Working an expo is definitely a whole different experience than just generally attending an expo. They're very overwhelming, obviously. Like there's a lot of noise, a lot of people. It's usually pretty warm. This expo was a smaller one. It was an exotics one, and the exotics community in my area is quite small. It was packed. So it's definitely pretty overstimulating, and this is my second expo this year, and after both of them I came home and immediately had like a 3-hour nap. So generally how an expo works if you are a vendor is it makes for a pretty early morning. The company that I was with did not have animals with us, so we didn't have to worry about transporting livestock into the area. So the expo itself started at 10. We arrived around 9:30 and started loading in and setting up then, and all we really had to worry about was getting our big canopy up and putting out the samples that we were going to be distributing. That said, when we showed up at 9, there were lots of other vendors there. Bye, Cusco. There were lots of other vendors there with their livestock who had been there for quite a while, acclimating fish, putting reptiles on display, that kind of thing. A lot of the enclosures are quite small. A lot of them are Tupperware or display cases. Those are not the permanent enclosures for these animals. Those are exclusive to expos. They're only in those enclosures for a couple of hours, and it's because most of those animals are for sale. So those enclosures are designed to give the prospective buyers a really good view of the overall presentation and health of the animal. It can be really tricky to do that if they're hidden by a lot of like leaves and foliage and whatnot. The vendors that were at this expo all had really good looking animals. They were all very well cared for. I didn't see any animals that looked overly stressed while I was there. They're here to show the best animals that they have to hopefully give them a really good home at the end of the day. A lot of the vendors with livestock and with animals had been there for quite a while setting up. We were right next to one of the fish vendors, so they had been floating bags for quite a while by the time we got there, because they put the clownfish that you saw in the videos, they actually only went in the tank about 5 minutes before the expo opened, I believe. If either of you guys are watching this, please correct me. For us, our big priority was getting our table set up, getting our canopy set up, and putting out the samples in a way where the presentation made sense and that people would be able to find them and access them easily. We didn't want it to necessarily be a free-for-all. We wanted to be there to do nutrition education, but we also wanted to make sure that people had the opportunity to kind of rifle through to find a formula that would work well for their animal. I personally love going to expos. I love interacting with people who are as excited about animals as I am. It's kind of an outlet for me, but I do know that quite a few people who work as vendors or with other companies at expos find them very, very strenuous, and they definitely are. They really kind of suck the life out of you for the day, especially if you're handling or transporting livestock to and from. It does make for a really long day. So my advice to you, if you are a vendor or if you work with a company who has interest in going to expos, would be to pack a lot of water, a lot of coffee, and a lot of snacks, because you never know what the venue is going to have available to you. The group that organizes this expo is lovely. They made sure that there was like a really accessible bathroom that was like really close to our table, and they did a coffee run midway through. They took really good care of us. But you never know what you're going to be walking into, especially if it's somewhere that, like, if it's out of town or somewhere that you haven't been before. So definitely like stock up like you're going on like an elementary school field trip, because that's kind of how it's going to feel. If you are attending an expo just as a member of the general public, some things that I have learned that makes it a lot easier of an experience from a vending perspective is if you bring cash, for sure. A lot of places don't have ATMs. Most of them will like specify that. Also take your fair share, but leave some for the others as well. And this wasn't really an issue at this expo, but I have had it happen before, that people just kind of tend to take like 5 or 6 or 7 samples. It's kind of like when you were a kid and you were trick-or-treating and like you had that one neighbor that would always leave out like a bag of candy on their porch and be like, everybody take one, and there'd always be that one kid that took like 7. Don't be that kid. Just share. You know how good you feel when you get a free bag of food or a free sample. So take some, but leave some so someone else can experience that as well. Another thing I would say as well is don't be afraid to like interact with vendors. People kind of shy away from talking to the people behind the product tables, and honestly, a lot of us are there because we want to be there and because we want to educate, or even just have a conversation with like-minded people. So don't be afraid to ask us questions. It's not very often that so many like-minded people get together, and I personally really enjoy having those conversations with customers that we already have at the store, or new people, or even people who are just passing through who go, hey, I didn't know this was an issue in dog nutrition, for example. We're there because we want to be there and because we want to interact, so don't be shy. What are you doing? Oh, I know what he's doing. Can you not feed me? All right, well, we're gonna end this here because someone has hit the hormone threshold, because birds in the fall are a little randy. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to the vendors who let me ask them some questions on camera and who let me take video of all of their animals and all of their products. I will link every single one of them down below. Please go check them out. They were all lovely people, and all of their products and all of their livestock were amazing. So thank you so much to everybody who participated in this video, and I will see you guys in my next one, hopefully with a less hormonal lovebird.